Logic and common sense do not motivate people or change minds. The fact of the matter is humans are driven by stories, by feelings, by emotion.
And I tell candidates, do you know how to ask for what you need? You're asking for dollars, you're asking for volunteers to give their time, and you're asking for people to vote for you.
Go be a person that people can connect with, because the more opportunity that they feel like they get to know the person that's there and they trust them, the greater the likelihood of them being able to support them in a future election.
Be a person should go on an NDTC quote board. Just be a person.
Be a person.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join myself and two fantastic, experienced, wise, incredible Democratic professionals, consultants. I take the term hack as a badge of pride. I don't know if others do. But both Rosetta and Kate are here today. I will give them a chance to introduce themselves momentarily and share their background. But you all are in for a treat because these two know how to win, and they know how to win in red states. What I mean by that is they're both working in red states to make Democratic change, both in Missouri and Nebraska. I have seen their work. I have referred people to their work. They're fantastic, and we are very lucky to have them. So thank you to both of you. For those of you who have joined us, this is an expert Q&A. Now, the Q and the A actually stand for question and answer, which means it's interactive, because no one just wants to sit on a screen and watch, for Love is Blind to connect, only to give up 45 minutes in. So Rosetta, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, happy to do so. Thank you, Kelly, and thanks, folks, for hopping in. I know that we could do anything during our lunchtime here on this Thursday, and being ready for 2024 and future races starts now. My name is Rosetta Okeson. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm from the great city of St. Louis. Go Cards. I saw Cubs fans in the chat. We'll still be here to give you our stories and teach you a little bit, even though that is your team. I've been doing this work for 10 years professionally, but I started knocking doors when I was 8. My grandparents worked on campaigns when I was a kid. You would say that I came out and was told that I was a Democrat, and I wear that badge very proudly. My team is here in St. Louis. We are just rolling off of municipal races that happened 16 days ago. So we're mostly rested now, and every day doesn't feel like a Wednesday right now. I'm excited to chat with you all and be engaged today.
I love it. Well, we're excited to have you, and thank you. Kate Wolf, tell us.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. My name is Kate Wolf. I'm coming to you from Lincoln, Nebraska. Hello to my fellow Lincolnite that dropped in the chat. I was a political late bloomer. I got into politics. I already was married, had 4 kids. But in 2007, 2008, I got really excited about the presidential campaign of then Senator Barack Obama. And I just rode in on that wave and volunteered for every opportunity I could get my hands on. Knew nothing, and really was blessed by tons of people willing to mentor and reach down and pull me up. And that just led to me being kind of where I'm at today. I have one foot in politics, where I have a political consulting business, managing campaigns all the way up and down the ballot, little natural resource districts races sometimes to, statewide ballot initiatives. I most recently led last year the statewide ballot initiative in Nebraska to raise the minimum wage, and that was successful. We were somewhat of a test case. Can we do this in a midterm in a red state and win on the ballot? And we did, and we won convincingly. And then my other foot is kind of in policy, where I serve as a legislative aide in the Nebraska legislature. And I oftentimes have a hard time choosing which fuels my heart more. And so I think, it's really the politics, because the politics does really weave through the policy. You can't get to the policy without the politics. And I think that's what I love so much about the NDTC. And I've been a trainer with them since 2017, kind of call myself one of the OG trainers. And I love our mission. I'm forever grateful to Kelly for starting this, where we get to come together and I get to pay back mentorship and training free to other people who want to help elect Democrats across our country. So welcome.
So we had a question come in, and knowing that today is all about messaging, that essentially said there are so many avenues and ways to reach voters nowadays. How do you choose which channel or channels are the most effective for your intended audiences? Which I know is a challenge for every campaign at every level that I've been working on for quite some time. But Rosetta, let's open this up to you. How do you kind of counsel your campaigns on where to spend their limited time, money, and people to reach people?
Yeah, so definitely a large question that every campaign has to make a decision in figuring out what's best. I think I look at it in a couple different buckets. When you are trying to have conversations with people, you want them to be two-way streets, right? None of us enjoy someone talking at us. We enjoy being included in a part of the conversation. And so, we advise most of the projects that we work on, most of the campaigns that we work on here, to figure out the best way where people are responsive, right? And so that could be different in different communities. It can also be different depending on the size of the race and the number of people that you have to talk to, right? Those numbers really begin with you understanding what your win number is. And I know NDTC offers a training to help you figure out how many people you need to talk to in order to be successful on election day. At the end of the day, this is a numbers game. So if you don't like math, make sure as you are building your campaign team, you have someone who does. But figuring out how people are responsive, how they're engaging, where are you getting those responses? Is it meeting them on their doors? Is it reinforcing the message that you had in a conversation on the doors and then deciding to do that digitally, whether that's through social media channels that you have set up or other places where people are having conversations like neighborhood meetings? There's a lot of different ways to really engage, but it really starts with how many people am I trying to reach, and how many of those people do I need to be convinced to be a part of that conversation? So there's a one answer, one size fits all that I can give you here, but understanding the demographic of the people that you're having a conversation with, talking to the folks that need to be a part of your win number and your solution, and making sure that you have a path to be able to engage with them, knowing the median age of the people that are there and where they're interacting. Those are all factors that need to go in to deciding the frequency and where you are having those conversations. I will stand on this, and maybe I will be on this hill alone. Knocking doors is so effective. It allows people to be in their own space. It allows you to go to them. We can't just wait for people to come to us. We have to go to them to make sure that they know we are seeking them. So we always start there and then kind of build out.
I love it. Kate, anything to add or share with this? How do you?
Yeah, I would say, through my evolution in politics, there are new technological advances all the time, right? We saw the emergence of social media and messaging on social media. And then, we have text fundraising and text, communicating. And I always go back and say, all of those things are a part of your plan, have to be part of your campaign plan. How are we going to get our message out? But I'm true blue, doors, right? But direct mail, for me, everything always goes back to direct mail. And the reason for that is in your voter file, you will not have a phone number for everybody. People aren't picking up numbers they don't know. So sometimes those can be challenging two-way conversations. We can find them at their door, and we can find them in their mailbox. And I think that's the most direct targeting way that you're going to be getting your message to your voters that you need to turn out.
I love it. The recap here of what these two amazing professionals said is you need to have a plan, you need to understand how to get to that plan and who those people are. NDTC can help you with all of that. However, the interactive communication, you don't, as Rosetta said perfectly, we don't like people who talk at us, right? Yeah. If someone on a campaign comes up and says, how do you feel about abortion? They want to know, but they really want to tell you how they feel, right? So give them that opportunity to do it. And the more opportunity you have to have those interactive conversations, which are much easier on a door-to-door, especially on a local campaign, the smaller campaigns, It's much easier and more effective to do it that way. And if you're going to go with the paid media route, please make certain, as Kate mentioned, you can find them in the mail. You can find them at the doors. Please make certain you do it in a way that isn't just like, oh, I'm sending one mail piece. One mail piece isn't going to help you. Okay. If you're going to do mail, please find someone who has experience. There are consultants out there who will help you. Consultants is not a dirty word, I promise. Who will help you put together a program that is big enough, strong enough, repetitive enough. The key to getting your message across is repetition. The key to getting your message across is repetition. The key to getting your message across is repetition. Everybody hopefully is smiling and laughing at that, but it's true, right? None of us on this call are normal. Nobody who joined, not the three of us are not normal. We all freely admit it. Those of you watching are not normal because you're taking time out of your day to watch the three of us who are not normal do this. But we appreciate that, and we can all be better at it. So I'd like to kind of delve into this just for a second more. You both mentioned social media. How do you advise candidates? What's the best way? What social media presence do you recommend, and how do you recommend using that? And Rosetta, we'll go back to you and then to Kate.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think what we ask people to do, back to the message and consistency of authenticity, what social media places do you have the biggest impact, right? What are followings that are already there? If you're about to run for county dog catcher and you've been posting photos of your own dog and your own pet, and that's where you get the biggest reaction and interaction and commitment from people interacting with whatever you're putting up there, maybe that's the best vehicle for you to already use because it's a base that's already been created. I think one of the mistakes that I see so many candidates, especially folks who are running for the first time, do is assume that they need to have an Instagram and a Facebook and a Twitter account and TikTok and Be Real and whatever else is new that I haven't discovered yet because my staff has not taught me. There are all these different places that are there, but the worst thing that you can do is to set up all these things and not have any content and not have anything up there. It looks like you don't care about it, or you're not engaging with it, you're not interacting. Finding the places that make the most sense for you to get the message across and for you to be engaged, that has got to be the vehicle that's there. And if you don't have any social media, I think, again, figuring out the people that you're hoping to talk to, who are you hoping to reach or reinforce your message with, right? Who's missing from that demographic? If you don't have a great way of getting in touch with people 18 to 40 because maybe they move too often in the database or file that you have, and you're really trying to get in touch with folks there, maybe figuring out the best vehicle where folks are having conversations, maybe Instagram might be the right one for you. But I think it's got to be based off of what's the plan to continue this out through Election Day. Those plans, working backwards from Election Day to present day, is really important for you to be able to figure out how much time is going to need to be dedicated to this. The worst thing that anyone that's running for office could do is to set something up and then don't finish it. It feeds into this idea that elected officials are not following through on things. And if you are running for office, you need to be proving consistently to people that this is something that you care about and that you will do, because regular people, non-political people, they want to know, what have you done for me lately? It's not just a Janet Jackson song. And so if you can't respond to them on social media and you can't respond to a question that they have, it's very unlikely that they'll vote for you. So again, just being able to follow through is really important. So start out small, and if you need to grow and you have more volunteers and team members, great, but start out small and be intentional with the messaging that's there and be consistent.
That's great advice. I love it. We're getting great add-on questions here. Representative Herndon, I see your question. I'm going to redirect back to that in just a second.
A great message starts with being able to explain why you're running for office. To make sure you or your candidate's why is solid, we've linked our free Finding Your Why worksheet in the description below. This will help you expand on your reasons for running, your leadership style, and why voters should support you. This worksheet can help form the messaging you'll use throughout the campaign. So download our Finding Your Why worksheet now and refine your campaign message today. Now back to the training.
Kate, to keep this going, you also mentioned texting, which is something that has really come on the past couple of cycles. It is not something all of us, I think, are accustomed to. but it is incredibly effective. How do you talk to campaigns about how they should use texting?
I'll say what I've said before, because repetition is key. It's got to be part of your plan, and it can't be the only part of your plan. It has to be, this is a supplementary thing, and you have to decide what is going to be my goals of the messaging I'm setting out via text, and what are the most effective ways to use messaging. I've gotten some text messages from campaigns that are like a book. I'm not reading that. You know what I mean? Like, just way too long. And so you have to use the medium in the most effective way. You have to use the medium in the best way that's going to support you. So, I think low dollar fundraising, great way to use texting, right? And that's not a blasting out to people you don't know. That's texting to your people you know and asking them, and people that join your campaign. I think texting is great for GOTV. I think that's a good reminder, GOTV texts. And then also just, dropping little messages out just to remind people. It's really cost effective, but it's like nothing. I mean, you still need to be targeting, right? We're not going to just willy nilly. I'm not just going to text, everybody with a dog. It's, you want to make sure that it's directed and that you're doing it effectively, I guess.
Rosetta, thanks for putting that in the, sorry, I see now that was a chat to me. I'm doing this really well. I've been out of practice.
That's okay.
Well, that's all right. Representative Herndon did ask a question about safety around door knocking, especially given the tragic current events that seem to be happening all over. I think you wanted to speak to that, and thank you. Please, what are you?
Yeah, happy to do that. I think it is important to be aware of your surroundings and doing some door knocking. We use a couple of strategies to keep all of our team members accountable and safe. We send folks out in pairs. That doesn't mean that two people go to a door together, but maybe they're what we call leapfrogging, going one door and the person's going there, but staying in eyesight of their person. We ask that folks keep their vehicles very close to wherever it is that they're canvassing when they are going out and they're having a conversation. What we've done, and especially in areas where we feel like we're not sure how people are going to be received, we've had candidates reach out to local police departments and let them know that we're going to be out knocking doors and talking to people. So if someone calls and says, hey, there are some people that are in our neighborhood that are there, we need to do that. These are all tactics that I use for my team members to keep our voter contact specialists safe as people are going there. If the door feels weird or the porch looks like it might not be safe to be on, don't go to the door, right? Using some common sense there, but also some preemptive measures and going out in teams and being smart about the time of day you're also door knocking. We don't knock after dark. We want to make sure that we're having those kinds of precautions that are there. It's the best that we can do in this situation, and you certainly should be aware of it. But I would just encourage you to put together a plan that includes people working together, people going out together, so that there's a safety measure for another team member that's there.
That's great advice. And sad and disappointing and effing tragic that this is the conversation we have to have. The other side who are unwilling to do anything to help solve this problem. I know we're all fired up right now. I know, at least inside, I can feel the burn coming through me of like, let's hop on the, let's channel that into the next question here is, while your campaign, maybe your local party, you might have a core message. It needs to be tailored, obviously, depending on who you're talking to. And we have many questions coming in around this. How do you go about ensuring what you're saying, how do you go about ensuring what you're saying is staying true to your main message while also delivering it to diverse audiences, right? You're not always talking to the same people over and over, but you want to be reinforcing that. So, Kate, how do you have your candidates kind of keep it fresh, but and handle this on the trail?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we always have our core messages, leading back to 3 or 4, no less than 3, no more than 5 points that they are going to be running on, that all have a concise and effective message to them. And then how do you tell the story about each one of those when you're talking? If you get someone and you're listening first to them, what's important to them, and they tell you something that's important to them, and if there is a way for you to lead, that story back to one of your core points, is how I kind of encourage people to, to tie that in. So basically all paths lead back to your core messages. And what that allows you to do is to say, this is why it's important to you. This is how it's also important to me. And this is my plan as, your elected representative, to make that better, to fix that. And so, we've kind of always heard, in political conversations, you get a question, you give the answer you want. And I think, I understand why that's a communication strategy, but I think people also, especially having genuine, sincere conversations at the doors or at a meet and greet, especially at the local level, which I think most of us are working more locally. You want to make sure that you're tying it back to, what you're gonna be able to do for them, right? What they want to know, what's in it for them. And so your story needs to answer that question.
I love it. Rosetta?
Yeah, I think the exercise I give to any candidate that's running for office, even before we officially start working together, is for them to write down their story of why they're running. We give them a list of prompts, like, tell us your story, tell us why you want to do this, and how you include your story of self. That is something that you have to always be able to come back to. Your reason for being fired up, for being the person that is going to carry the water for this community of people, who's going to be able to get things done effectively, is something that people are going to need to hear over and over and over again. And so, it is important to understand why you are running, so that comes through in the different issues. The other thing that I encourage folks to do, and if they have time, so depending on how long your race is or how long you have to start up, when you do your signature gathering, or you're first starting out that campaign, I think asking people what issues are most important to them is really important, so that you understand what people are caring about. And then you can pull from your own story of self that this person really cares about early childhood education, and my mom struggled to put us in a good early childhood education. And so we actually didn't get a chance to do that piece. And we just went straight into kindergarten, and she felt like we were behind, right? Like, those are ways to tie in issues that are important to people and connect yourself. People are looking for empathy. They're looking to see a little bit of themselves in the people that are running for office, that are going to bat for them, so that they can trust you, right? And you're building that trust by being able to be vulnerable and share, a story of why you're there, and how you're going to not allow for this to happen again. And that happens by really being honest with yourself. You don't have to think about it, because it's the truth, right? You spent the time understanding and writing down why you want to run for this office and what you're hoping to accomplish, and then learning if you can actually accomplish that in that office, because sometimes that's another piece that goes along with it. But it's really important to just know why you're doing it. If other people are going to volunteer, if people are going to donate their time or their money or anything else, they want to know that they're making a good investment. And so it is your responsibility as a candidate to really make sure that why you're running is something that you have locked down, so that other people can share it.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, this is great advice that you should be writing down and following. I will say that you notice a theme here. They're talking about stories, right? Your story of self, who you are, why you're running, right? In these core messaging points. This stuff doesn't happen just, oh, I'm running for office. Boom, I can do this. You have to practice, okay? You're going to get better over time, but you need to practice. And you start with your story of self. Those of you who have have done one of these BLTs with me before, you know what I'm about to say here is that logic and common sense do not motivate people or change minds. If it did, the world would be such a different place, and we could spend a whole 3 hours talking about what that world may be. The fact of the matter is, humans are driven by stories, by feelings, by emotion, right? And that we have to realize the people we are trying to motivate, the people we are trying to get to vote for us and make a change in our communities, they are not us. The messages that work for me, that work for our panelists, that maybe work for you, do not necessarily work for the voter you're trying to motivate. What you need to do is figure out your story of self. Why are you running? What are the stories that you have that you can tie to the message and the principles that's going to motivate that voter to understand, holy crap, Kate is the best person for me, right? I need to go vote for Kate, right? Don't talk about climate change like we need to decrease our CO2 carbon emissions by 3.4%. First of all, that nasal voice imitation, I don't know what that was. I apologize now, but you get the point. Like no one's listening to that, right? But if you're trying to get, mothers and parents to vote for you, if that's a target demographic, you can listen, our kids shouldn't get asthma because they want to go play on the playground, right? And then they don't give us healthcare anyways, right? Access to healthcare is incredibly difficult already. Like there are ways to motivate people through emotion, and that's your job. And it won't happen. It takes practice. Please, please, please find someone you trust, record yourself, whatever you need to do, but keep working on that all the time. There were also questions about how often is too much on texting, etc. I'm just going to put this one to bed. Like, y'all, when you start getting complaints that, oh, you've texted me too much, I already voted, you're doing it right. Okay. When you're making phone calls, people are like, stop calling, I already voted. You're doing it right. Those are anecdotal observations from individual calls. There are plenty of people. You can absolutely remove those people. Don't call them again. Don't text them again. But the key to getting your point across is repetition. Okay. So don't stop. Keep doing that. It's the same way when asking for money, right? Sometimes you have to ask 2, 3, 4 times before you can get an answer. All right. We have some more the questions that were sent in, but Rosetta, Kate, we got some great ones that have been submitted into the Q&A, and there's a lot, and I don't want us to get behind on that. So let's run through some of these if you're cool with that. Awesome. Janine Wood is asking for, what are some responses to both-sides-ism? Who wants to take this one first? Because I'm ready. Let's do it. You want to go both sides-ism?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll talk a little bit about that. I think, again, when you are talking to folks and figuring out what motivates them, there are some folks that are not going to be able to be moved, right? Like you just have to own that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. There are some people that are never going to make it there. But I think when you're asking those conversations and you're really digging in to why they care, why they're engaged, or who they support, or what's happening there, I think getting people to understand and make a decision about what is a deal breaker and what's not a deal breaker, right? I will take us back to elementary school. Venn diagram, right? Okay, what's good, what's bad, what's in the middle, right? What do I have to have? The things that are in the middle are the things that I absolutely can't live with, right? That's how I kind of view it. The other ones are the pros and cons. These are the things that I absolutely have to have. So trying to lead all conversations to the point where you can get to the list of things. What are you looking for in a leader? How would you want someone to respond to you? Giving people those kinds of questions so that you can have an actual conversation instead of just doing this bounce back and forth. It is the job and the role. I will say, again, it doesn't mean that you're going to come to a conclusion by the end of that conversation, and that's fine. But I think there are certainly struggles with different individuals that might be running for the same office, or people that are from different parties that are running. And you have to decide, and you want them to understand what can they live with, right? What do they have to have in order for this to be effective? And I think that has to be the temperature that we take with that kind of conversation.
I like it. Kate, anything you want to add to that?
I think I would just add is you just kind of try to, as best you can, bring it down to the personal level. I understand, there are these dueling, factions at the national level, and we hear this, Democrats versus Republicans, but Rosetta is, she is a person. She's running to be your representative. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. What questions can I answer about her? Like, try to move it away from, hypothetical sides and make it about the person in front of you, if possible, or people. If you're a party leader, let me tell you, about one or two of our candidates or a few of our representatives that, hold that, the values that you're telling me are important to you.
Yeah. The only piece that those are fantastic answers. You all are well served to listen and follow this. The last piece I would add, the two is, number one, just because you're talking to someone doesn't, like, you don't have to win all the voters, people. Right? If you're in politics to get everybody to like you, you're in the wrong business. Okay.
Yes.
It's okay. Some people are not going to come over to your side, right? No matter what you say. And you just have to understand where that line is. And it's something that I struggle with as well, of like, okay, you know what? The best possible outcome of this is for me not to be frustrated when I walk away. So I'm not going to engage any further. We're just going to disagree. Good luck to you, right? I hope you and your family do well, and walk away. I would also suggest and encourage all of you, even if you're running in red areas, that people want a leader, and not to apologize for what you believe in. And in fact, speak with passion, speak with conviction, speak with what you believe in. Don't apologize for it. That doesn't mean be a self-centered jerk, getting better with my dad language. But it does mean, like, there is absolutely nothing wrong if someone is trying to tell you you're wrong for being pro-choice. Like, look, I am pro-choice. That is what I believe in, how I'm going to vote. If this issue is a deal breaker for you, then maybe you should vote for someone else. My door will always be open, right? Totally fine with that. Okay. If someone is making a spectacle and you feel like it's performative in front of a group, you can come back to these people, especially the whataboutisms. There's a whole laundry list of things that happen on their side, right? And those of us, I will speak for myself, I look for the people who can push back, who can inspire me. I should not feel bad because I believe government can help more of us and not just the top 1% billionaires, right? The yahoos we have in on the other side who just put forward their bill to defund the government, right? If you want to increase the debt ceiling, you have to defund the police, right? You're cutting VA benefits by 22%. Like, all of this stuff is mind-blowing. There's so much out there to counter the whataboutisms, but you're probably not going to win that person over. And if you are, it might take you some time. So think about how much time you have to give to every individual conversation. Okay. I see Alexis in the chat. Yeah, Katie Porter is fantastic, and also one of our national honorary co-chairs. Let's keep going. Heather Hayes says that she's supporting a candidate for sheriff in a Republican county. How do you suggest dealing with the most hot button topics in real time? We're dealing with DeSantis's open carry law. Heather, first, thank you for working in Florida. Thank you for fighting the fight down there. We need more people stepping up. Kate, how do you handle these type of issues in Nebraska?
It's funny that you say that, because we just advanced permitless concealed carry yesterday, and then the member that I worked for filibustered that the whole way, and unfortunately we didn't prevail. But I can really understand what that feels like, to be that underdog. And I think it just goes back to, again, finding the people that share the values of the candidate that is running, and connecting the story of why it's important to have that person be elected for everybody. And again, it starts with listening. And I think earlier I had a thought after we had talked about figuring out how to get your message out, that very rarely have I had a campaign that can afford polling. And so I was really excited when Rosetta talked about that just go and listen everywhere. And so it really comes down to, what are people saying in that particular county, and connecting what that, sheriff's candidate can do, can change, can make better. And those are the people that you want to talk to. We had a sheriff race last year too, where we had a longtime Republican incumbent running, and we had a great Democratic challenger, who didn't prevail. And sometimes those can be hard campaigns to get people excited about, but if you have an issue and there are already people rallying around it, and you're rallying around this issue of the open carry, I would say try to connect and get as many of those people, sort of on your channels and in your universe to step up and help and volunteer and, channel everybody together to work to help elect that candidate.
Excellent. Rosetta, what are you all doing there in Missouri?
Oh, Missouri is a wild, wild west, y'all.
More ways
it
than
is.
one. Yeah.
Listen, I think we've had some similar conversations here. We have a local control conversation that is happening in our state right now. I think what I would encourage, especially understanding the investment and engagement for people of how much they actually know and how much they're paying attention to that. I think if they know the person, and this goes back to what we were saying about story of self, why they're there, the person that's currently in that role, the burden of proof for any candidate that's running against them is why this person should not do this job and why I can do it better, right? And so part of your story, part of your connecting with people has to answer those two things. This person has not performed here, here, and here. This is what I would do differently. Here's my plan for us to not be in this situation again, right? Those are the lines of questions that you have to be answering. And even outside of that, voters decide to vote for some certain people, often not based in logic, which is really interesting. And so I'll just throw this out there. The more opportunity that they feel like they get to know the person that's there and they trust them, the greater the likelihood of them being able to support them, not only in this race, but in a general election or in a future election. So do the work, spend the time connecting with people. It was just the Lenten season. We spent a bunch of time at fish fries. Go where people are already gathering. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Show up at the farmer's market where people are hanging out. Go to the car rally that's happening there. And it doesn't have to be a big production with campaign signs, but go be a person that people can connect with, that understand, because the word of mouth, we can do all the door knocking that we want to and spend all of our money on digital ads and send a boatload of mail, because we won't send one piece, send a boatload of mail to people's mailboxes. But if they don't feel like this person is from this community, this person cares about me, it's going to be very difficult to get people to engage and change their mind. So spend your time and energy investing in two-way conversations, whether it's at the door and you're talking to them and it's a target demographic of folks that you want to talk to, or it is community members. Say hello and high five the kid that's with their parent that's coming up to you. Be a person. Those are things that people are hoping to get out of it, because we now live in this space where our elected officials have been very polarizing individuals, and they are not accessible to regular people. And so we have to break that narrative, especially at the local level, that this person is from this community, is a part of this community, and will fight for this community.
Be a person should go on an NDTC quote board.
Be a person.
Yep. I think I looking through the questions and the chat here, I think that many of the people on this training are in red, suburban, rural areas. Not all of you, but many of you are in those tough places. I want to level set with all of you what the definition of winning is for you. You are not going to turn every seat blue overnight. Okay. However, if you are willing to put together a 2, 5, 10-year plan, right, then you can start working towards creating change over time. And that benefits not just your area, but candidates up and down the ballot there. And having personally grown up in a very red area, in Missouri, gone to school in a very red state of Kansas and done a lot of work there. We're too often so focused on short-term metrics and winning that we don't think about long-term what it's going to take to really build power. And so the advice Rosetta, Kate are giving about those conversations, about being a person, about having back and forth, really builds relationships. And those of you working at a or helping with a local party, you're the ones who can really grow those over time. How are you talking to voters, not just when you need them to vote, but in whatever the quote unquote off year, even though there are no off years, may be, right? When less people are paying attention. Are you giving them chances to get engaged? Are you staying in front of them, right? And your sheriff candidate may lose this time by 8 points, but it's better than losing by 10. And next time you may lose by 6. But you can slowly start to build that power. Don't ever think you are alone in this. There are almost 100 people on this call facing the same challenges. There are 160,000 people who've come through NDTC over the past few years who are facing these challenges. You are not alone. And even in those super red areas, 1 out of 3 is a Democrat. Now, you think, oh, I lost by 60% at the ballot box. No. That means 40% of the people were Dems. 4 out of 10. You're almost half the people in the room. You are not alone, right? And we need more people to stand up. We need more people out there saying, this is not okay. Presenting a vision of the future. So this whataboutism, this tear it all down and make all politicians look bad so nobody comes out to vote so they can change the rules so they can stay in power, ends, right? That's what we have to do. Unfortunately, it's not easy. If it was, everybody would do it. But we're all going to do it. And NDTC, Rosetta, Kate, we're all here to help you. All right. So thank you for what you're doing. There are several questions in the Q&A about where do I find all these volunteers to help me with this amazing message? Where have you all found the best places? And I know NDTC has some courses around that, but where are you all finding volunteers to help spread these messages?
I'll jump in there.
All right,
yeah, I did.
Talk over each other. I knew it.
Yeah.
Moderator fail. I did not direct. Moderator fail. We made it to 12:48. Those of you who pay the over, take the under. Next.
Go ahead.
Hey, go for it. No,
sure?
okay, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I usually tell people is, first, if you're a candidate, a small campaign, it's the people closest to you, right? You're going to be asking every person you know that loves you and supports you. It's the same as your fundraising plan, right? Your volunteers are going to come from the people closest to you. And then from there, especially, I was political party staff, I was county party staff, I was state party staff. And, when we would go to events and there would be people there, the most important thing to do is make sure you're capturing their information, make sure you have their information organized, make sure you're connecting with them meaningfully, and then you have to ask. I think one of the missteps that I see regularly are emails constantly going out, come volunteer, come volunteer, come volunteer. That is really not an effective way to recruit and retain your volunteers. You really need a one-on-one ask. And I tell candidates when they meet with me and they're kind of hesitant, can they, they want to run, they want to be successful, what they can do. And I say, can you ask for what you need? Do you know how to ask for what you need? And that's, you're asking for dollars, you're asking for volunteers to give their time, and you're asking for people to vote for you. And those are just kind of the 3 basic buckets. So with your volunteers, are you asking? And are you, building people up? Are you loving them? Are you treating them respectfully when they show up? If, all of us in this room, if Kelly was our candidate and we all showed up for a fun noontime Zoom, we would want to make sure, and Rosetta and I are Kelly's campaign staff, we will want to make sure that we were following up with every single one of you with an opportunity. And that's my pitch. What Rosetta probably has amazing things even.
No, Kate, I think you said exactly what's right. The skill set of being a candidate and being a part of a team is to make sure that you are being very direct with what needs to happen next. My favorite phrase is closed mouths don't get fed. So if you didn't ask for what you needed, then you're not going to have what you need. It is important and imperative as you are building out your campaign. Again, it's going to start small, right? We all have three people, at least three people that we would call that would be our get out of jail people, right? If I'm in a situation, I'm calling three people. I'm calling my husband because that's why he signed up for this. I'm calling my brother because I've been talking him into stuff for the last 30 years. And I'm calling my mom because she's my biggest cheerleader, right? Your volunteer base can start with those three people and then it can expand and grow. If as you go to doors and you start talking to people and you get a strong support at the door, ask them would they be willing to donate their time. Maybe they don't know what it means to volunteer on a campaign. You have to be ready to explain it. I need someone to help me walk doors. I need someone to stand at the polling locations on election day. I need people to go out and help me recruit other people to be here. You have to learn to ask for those things so that you can grow. If you need to reach 10,000 people in 1 year and you know that you can't do it alone, you have to figure out the math. We're going to go back to our math lesson and figure out how many people you're going to need to help you. I need 30 volunteers to help me every single weekend for the next 52 weeks so that we can get to this 10,000 number, right? And I'm just throwing some numbers out, so don't write that math down. It's not right. But my point is you have to think about it, and there has to be an intentional plan, and you have to ask for the things that you need so that they follow that timeline and that plan so you can hit those goals. And when you get those volunteers in, gratitude is how you keep them there. Help them build a community with other people, other like-minded individuals, other folks that they maybe haven't had an opportunity. Maybe the retired couple up the street doesn't know the younger couple that just met down here, and you've now put them in a situation where they are supporting something together and you're building community. Running for office is about building community, and it starts with your campaign. Your campaign is a reflection of how you will lead in that office. So make sure that you set yourself up to be very successful in that. It keeps volunteers in, and then more people will be engaged. They will start doing what we talked about earlier. Again, word of mouth is very powerful. Hey, I'm giving my time a couple times a week to this lady that's running to be our next U.S. Senator. Have you had a chance to meet her? Those are how these conversations began, and you've got to create the opportunities for people to truly be engaged and build those relationships. So it's the best part of all of this is getting to meet people, hearing their story, understanding why they're involved, and it's what makes us stronger. So maybe just like Kelly said, in those areas where it might be really difficult for you to pull off a win, but you are building something that someone will be able to come back to, and you're leaving it better than it was found, and that is a win. So don't forget that piece.
I love it. Y'all, the start small. This is about, again, you have to define your expectation, right? No one comes out. It's that overnight success only took years to make, right? You don't come out of the gate and have an email list of 40,000 people and 1,000 volunteers ready to go every weekend. You start small, just like Rosetta said. You get 3 people. Can they get 3 more people and grow and grow and grow? And it takes time. There is a course that I was going to recommend, and then I lost it. And when I come back to it and remember it, I will share it. It wasn't Story of Self. It was How to Make a Hard Ask is what it was, which is where we were and what Kate mentioned here. You're in politics. You need to be comfortable asking other people to do things. Okay. I can do a whole day on the need and importance for you to be able to ask someone to help you. I will boil it down to this. It comes down to how your attitude, it's about your attitude. There's my dad voice, right? You better check your attitude. It's your attitude and how you approach these things, and shifting your mindset from you're not burdening anyone by asking them to vote for you, to come volunteer, to give you money. That's not a burden. What you're doing is giving them the opportunity to be a part of the change that they want to happen, that they want to make. You are helping them reach their goals, right? No one here, I think, on this call ever felt bad if they sent $5 to Joe Biden or Barack Obama, right? We're happy to give. We're happy to make those calls. Did we feel bad? I can't believe he's asking. No, right? The same happens to the people you're asking. So we have a whole course on how to make a hard ask. Take it, practice it, get better, go out and ask for what you need to be successful, and don't you dare apologize for it. All right. There are a bunch of questions left unanswered that I am going to try to roll through. In the meantime, while we do that, though, Donald has put up our feedback survey. Please complete that. Let us know how we have done. We have talked a lot about social media here. NDTC is on the Twitter and the Facebook. You can follow us at NDTC or at TrainDems there. I do know our handles, I promise you. At TrainDems on both of those, okay? The very last thing I would say is if you have enjoyed this, this has been helpful, there is a lot more at traindemocrats.org. You can create an account for free. There's 120 plus courses available 24/7 to help you. However, I just spent time telling you that asking for what you need, Rosetta, Kate echoed or shared that asking for what you need is important. NDTC could use your help. If you found this helpful and you would like to support us, a financial contribution would be appreciated. We have partnered with Good Change on a brand new contribution system where if you so choose, you can register your credit card and round up at the end of the month for every transaction you have. So if you bought that iTunes movie for $4.99, it rounds up a penny. And at the end of the month, all those pennies get put together and sent over to Train Democrats. We would appreciate it if you'd give it a go. We could use your help so that we can take this training to more people. With that hard ask out of the way, let's roll through some of these. How important is social media? Does anyone disagree with fairly important, but as long as it meets your goals?
That's right.
We got nods. How much time do I spend on TikTok? Rosetta.
No, zero. No.
Zero.
No.
Excellent.
No.
Excellent. H. Bowen, how are you using AI tools in your upcoming messaging? Well, I could geek out on that one. Have you all used AI yet?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just started using and playing with a handful of ways to just interact with people. We've been using it on the back end of Facebook to have conversations and build it into our websites. So when people are coming there to answer questions, we can store and put all of these different things in, but we're seeing how often and what the frequency is that people are there. So right now I'm just learning about what people's habits are. And yes, I too can geek out on this. I love a focus group, guys. I can't help it. I just want to learn. I just want to learn.
I asked it to create a message for a candidate. It put together like a decent framework, but it was lacking the personalization there. So I would encourage everyone here to explore and understand a little bit about AI and how it can help you, especially in writing emails, crafting messages, getting things started. If you're creating a speech, it can be a great starting point to help you with writer's block, right? I'm certain we're going to have to do a whole course on that where someone in here asked about public speaking. I wanted to take a moment and highlight that we have a brand new public speaking course at Train Democrats. It is available online, so create an account and go see it there. It's 12:59. We did not get to a lot of these questions. I apologize, but thank you to everyone who participated in this. You can ask us questions on Twitter. We have a private Facebook group for people who register at Train Democrats. You can always ask there and be a part of the broader candidate and political conversation. I want to give a shout out to Rosetta and Kate, two of our amazing, fantastic, awesome trainers, for giving your time today. Thank you very much. Is there anything either of you would like to add before we go?
I think just continue to be invested and engaged. And you jumping in and asking very intentional questions today should not be a one-off. This is the beginning of a beautiful building of relationships. You running for office, you supporting other candidates. Remember, you get to decide what that win is, and just keep at it. Knowing why you're doing it is the thing you got to hold on to. So be sure to do that.
I want to remind everybody that the pathway to the head goes through the heart. And always remember that when you are constructing your storytelling and your messaging. Thank you so much for having me. Best of luck to everybody.
I like it. Thank you both. Thank you, everyone. As Rosetta said, go be a person. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Go kick some Republican ass. Talk to you later.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.